Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into, well, a really unsettling story. It's a first-hand account from a former scout about his time at a scout camp.
Yeah, this was a 4-day camp in Sakan Nakhon, Thailand. And the account originally from YouTube, it's quite detailed and pretty chilling.
It really is. It starts kind of small, things you might just brush off.
Little oddities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then it ramps up. We get these specific sightings, shared experiences, and eventually this historical context that just ties it all together in a really disturbing way.
So our aim here is really to unpack that narrative.
Right.
Look at the key events as they happened, the things people saw, and how that history sort of hangs over everything.
Right. We want to understand the fear and how these different strange occurrences might actually connect.
It's a classic structure for these kinds of accounts, isn't it? You get those initial, maybe ambiguous events.
Yeah, the things that make you go, that was weird.
Exactly. Then the unease builds, and suddenly you have multiple people experiencing something undeniable, something they can't just explain away.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our narrator, he's about 16 years old.
Yeah.
M2, which is like second year of secondary school.
Roughly, yeah. And they're heading to this scout camp up in the mountains in Sakan Nakhon. Long bus ride to get there.
And then just before the camp itself, the boys get told they have to walk the last bit uphill.
While the girls get to ride. Bit unfair, maybe, but it separates them.
And it's during this walk. This is where the first really strange thing happens. The narrator's walking with his mates, including a friend named Farano, pronounced sort of like Glow.
Right, and out of the blue, Glow asks, "Who's that girl behind us?"
So naturally, they all turn around, look back down the path.
Expecting to see someone, right? Maybe another scout lagging behind.
But there's nobody there. Well, nobody female. Just another group of guys, other scouts, way behind them.
So Glow just kind of laughs it off.
Yeah, he plays it like a joke. Just kidding. But, looking back with the full story, that moment feels different. It's the first little crack, the first hint that maybe something's not right with this place.
That seed of doubt, yeah.
Anyway, they finish the walk, get picked up by a truck, finally arrive at the camp proper, settle in, have lunch, start the usual scout stuff.
And the weirdness around Glow, it doesn't stop there.
No. During one activity, they're climbing trees, right? Standard scout thing. And Glow falls.
Okay, accidents happen, but his reaction, that's the key thing here.
Totally. You'd expect him to be hurt, cry out, wait for help maybe. But no, he hits the ground, jumps straight back up and just legs it. Runs full tilt back towards the dorms or accommodation area. Runs. No explanation.
And none. Leaves everyone totally confused. His friends, the instructors, just baffled. Why would he react like that? It felt really strange, apparently.
That intense panicked flight, it makes more sense later, unfortunately.
Yeah, it really does. Later that evening, there's another incident. Involves the showers.
Right, the girls' showers weren't working, no water, so they had to use the boys' area, which was more open plan. And, well, teenage boys being teenage boys. Yeah. The narrator and his friends, Fong, Glow, and Juan, they decide to sneak over, try and get a look.
Yeah, okay, so they're crawling over, trying to peep.
And Juan points someone out, says, "Look, there's a naked girl."
And Glow freezes there.
And reacts. Same way as before. He just bolts, runs off, shaking, praying, absolutely terrified.
Okay, so this time he has to explain, right, what is going on.
He does. He finally tells them, when he fell out of the tree earlier, it wasn't just a fall. He says he saw a naked girl hanging from the tree. That's why he fell. That's why he ran.
Whoa.
And the girl they just saw near the showers. He's convinced it's the same one. The same figure he saw hanging from the tree.
Oh man, imagine that realization hitting him. That thing he tried to dismiss earlier, the prank question about a girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suddenly it all connects in this horrific way. It wasn't a prank. It wasn't just a clumsy fall. He thinks he saw something truly awful. And the source makes it clear. His whole demeanor changed. He wasn't joking anymore. He was genuinely scared out of his mind.
Yeah, that shifts everything, doesn't it? From just odd stuff to something sinister.
Definitely. So, same evening, they have the big campfire opening ceremony. The narrator, he's a King Scout. That's like a more senior role. Involves duties.
Right, leadership stuff.
So his job is to be at the electrical control point, kind of on the edge of the main campfire circle.
A bit separate from the main crowd.
Yeah. And from there, he's looking out into the forest. It's super dark, dense woods all around. And he sees something.
What does he see?
A girl, just standing there, stock still, in the darkness between the trees.
Okay, that's creepy.
He looks away for a second, maybe blinks, thinks his eyes are playing tricks, looks back. She's gone. Vanished.
So he tries to rationalize it, eyes adjusting, tired maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. Tries to tell himself it was nothing. But after what happened with Glow, it adds to that feeling, that sense that something's really wrong here.
And the instructors, they seemed aware of the environment, right? Giving warnings.
Oh, yeah. They were very clear. Stay in light of the campfire. Use flashlights if you absolutely have to leave the area. They knew it was dark, isolated, easy to get lost or spooked.
Good advice, as it turned out. Because the campfire itself, it didn't go smoothly.
Not at all. It just descends into chaos. Suddenly people are getting up, leaving, looking distressed. Then they start hearing girls crying, even screaming from other parts of the camp area.
Oh, wow. Just widespread panic.
Total panic. It spreads like wildfire. The whole program just gets shut down. Instructors tell everyone, back to your dorms, back to your tents. Now.
So they get back, and what's the story? What caused the panic?
The narrator's friend, Poon, he fills him in, says people were seeing things, ghosts, he says, black shadows moving around, someone apparently seen just walking off into the deep woods. That's what set everyone off.
Man, what a first day and night. Everyone must have been completely on edge.
Totally. So first night, everyone's trying to sleep after all that chaos. Around 1 a.m., the narrator wakes up.
Why? Does he hear something?
Doesn't say. He just wakes up and looks outside his tent. He sees a figure, a girl. She's wearing Red Cross youth uniform, and she's sort of hunched over.
A girl in uniform in the middle of the night in the boys' area.
Exactly. He's super confused. Doesn't make any sense. Is she lost? An instructor, maybe? But she's just hunched over. He doesn't investigate, just tries to force himself back to sleep, probably hoping he dreamt it.
Yeah, denial's a powerful thing. But does it end there?
Nope. The next morning, around 5 a.m., they get woken up for King Scout duties. And the talk is all about weird sightings overnight.
So others saw things too.
Yeah. His friend Poon, the one who explained the campfire panic, Poon tells him that he went to the bathroom earlier that morning, like really early.
Saw something.
Saw a girl in a Red Cross uniform who vanished behind a tree when he left.
Okay. Same uniform description.
And then another friend, Pooh, says he saw someone walking around the tents during the night. And his description: a girl, Red Cross uniform, hunched over.
The exact same description the narrator saw, hunched over.
Exactly. This is huge for the narrator. It wasn't just him being half asleep or imagining things. 3 different people, including him, independently saw basically the exact same figure. Girl, uniform, hunched posture, disappearing act.
That makes it real. Or real enough to be terrifying. It confirms the fear isn't just in one person's head.
Right. It validates everything. They know something genuinely strange is going on now.
So day 2 activities, anything unusual happen then?
The account says day 2 was mostly normal scout stuff. It did rain, apparently. Made things damp, maybe a bit gloomy. And they got sent to bed early again because there was some activity planned for very early the next morning.
Setting the stage for night 2.
And night 2. This is where the narrator has his most intense, most personal encounter. It's about 10 p.m. He needs the bathroom.
Okay, so he heads to the boys' bathroom area, the open plan one.
Yeah. He goes into one of the stalls, and suddenly this overpowering smell hits him.
Smell? What kind of smell?
He describes it really vividly, like corpses or dead rats. Putrid. So strong it makes him feel sick.
Ugh, that's horrible.
And then, just as suddenly as it came, the smell vanishes. Silence. But then, footsteps. Right outside his stall door.
Oh, no.
His heart's pounding, obviously. He waits a beat, then opens the door. Nobody there.
Just
Gone. So he walks over to the sink, tries to wash his hands, and maybe calm down. But as he's standing there, the smell comes back. That awful, decaying smell, thick in the air. And he looks up into the big mirror above the sinks.
What does he see?
He sees a reflection. But it's not his. It's something, standing right behind him.
What does it look like?
Greenish, decaying skin, sunken eyes, just standing there, right behind him in the mirror.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pure horror. He doesn't even turn around. He just runs, sprints out of the bathroom, doesn't look back, absolutely terrified.
I don't blame him. Where does he go?
Straight to his friend Poon's tent, shakes him awake, basically begs to sleep in there with him, tells Poon, I saw something in the bathroom. It was horrible.
So he finds some safety, maybe, but the night isn't over, is it?
Not even close. Much later, around 2 a.m., they both get woken up again. Phone calls. From a teacher.
An emergency.
Big emergency. They're told to come to the teacher's residence immediately. The reason? 4 girls from class 21 are missing from their dorm.
Missing, just gone.
Gone. So the King Scouts, narrator and his friends included, they're mobilized right away. Search parties, guard duties around the camp perimeter, full alert.
Do they find them?
Yeah, thankfully. Took a couple hours, but around 4 a.m., another scout search group finds the missing girls.
Where were they? What happened?
Their story. That's another chilling piece of the puzzle. They said they went out into the woods near their dorm around midnight, needed to pee, and the main bathroom felt too far away in the dark.
Okay.
And while they were out there, in the forest, they saw a girl hanging from a tree.
Hanging? Just like Glow thought he saw on day 1.
Exactly like Glow's sighting. They were terrified, obviously.
Oh.
But instead of running back to the camp, they ran deeper into the woods.
Why would they do that?
They were scared the figure they saw was still there, waiting. So they hid deep in the forest for hours, too afraid to come out until they were found.
Wow. So now you have multiple people seeing this hanging figure. It's not just Glow's potentially unreliable account anymore.
Precisely. It reinforces that specific horrifying image.
So morning of day 3 must dawn with everyone exhausted and terrified.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very little sleep, nerves completely frayed. And around 5 a.m., something happens to Pooh the friend who saw the hunched girl in the uniform the previous morning.
What happens to him?
He just starts crying, uncontrollably,
Yeah.
shaking. His friends gather around, ask him what's wrong.
And
He says he went to the bathroom and saw a naked girl just standing there. He looked away instinctively, looked back. She was gone.
another naked girl sighting, like Glow saw near the showers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another echo.
Yeah.
But this time, the narrator remembers a detail Glow had mentioned about the girl he saw hanging from the tree.
What detail?
Braided hair. Glow had said the hanging girl had braided hair. So the narrator asks Pooh, the girl you just saw in the bathroom, did she have braided hair?
And Pooh says,
Pooh says, yes, she did.
oh, wow, that's the link.
That's the solidifier. The girl hanging from the tree,
Yeah.
the naked figure near the showers, the naked figure Pooh just saw in the bathroom. All described with braided hair. It connects them all. Suggests it's the same entity manifesting in these different terrifying ways.
Understandably, the boys freak out.
Totally. They just run, head straight for the dining hall, safety in numbers, maybe get away from the dorms and bathrooms.
So, the final night, night 3, what happens? Things must be incredibly tense.
Extremely tense. After the missing girls incident, they assigned the King Scouts to do guard duty all night, rotating shifts, 2 hours each, covering different points around the camp.
And the narrator gets a shift.
Yeah, his is late, like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. He's stationed near the teacher's residence area. He tries to get a bit of sleep beforehand, but wakes up suddenly.
Not again. What now?
This is maybe the most direct encounter. He sees a shadow figure standing at the foot of his bed.
Just a shadow.
At first, it's facing away. Then it slowly turns towards him, walks up to the bed, and steps onto his chest.
Steps on his chest.
Yeah, he describes his immense pressure. Can't breathe, can't move, like sleep paralysis, but he's awake, and he saw the figure approach. It terrifies him, and he screams out loud.
Does anyone hear him?
An instructor nearby wakes up, asks what's wrong. The narrator, totally shaken, tries to explain, there was someone at the foot of my bed. It stepped on my chest.
And the instructor believes him.
Not really. The instructor's response is kind of dismissive. Something like, you don't need to guard the spirit. Basically tells him to brush it off.
How? Not exactly helpful.
No, but the narrator insists. Says he'll continue his guard duty. He's shaken, but determined.
Does he see anything else?
Not immediately. But a bit later, maybe around 1 or 2 a.m. when shifts are changing, he runs into another instructor. Kind of like a cruise lame.
Yeah.
Apparently, this guy's been teaching or working at this camp for years.
An old-timer. Someone who knows the place.
Exactly. And the narrator sees this as his chance. He tells Crew Lamb everything. All the weird stuff since they arrived. Glow's sightings, the figure in the uniform, the mirror incident, the shadow on his chest, everything.
And what does Crew Lamb say? Does he have an explanation?
He does.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's the core of the whole thing. He tells the narrator the history. Says about 10 years ago, maybe more, a girl, a Red Cross youth camper, just like the figure they saw. She went missing during a camp there.
Missing. What happened to her?
They found her body 3 days later, naked, decaying, inside a locked bathroom at the camp.
Oh my god. Locked. How?
It gets worse.
Right.
Later, a group of boys confessed they'd raped her in the bathroom. She resisted, so they killed her, left her there, locked the door.
That's horrific.
And Crew Lamb adds another chilling detail. The boys who did it.
Yeah.
They claimed her ghost came back, tormented them afterwards.
So this isn't just a story. It's
Yeah.
the camp's history.
Exactly. Crew Lamb confirms it. Says the camp has had this reputation for years. Lots of stories. People seeing a girl in a Red Cross uniform. Or a naked girl. Often near the bathrooms. especially the one where she was found. He even says other camps there have been cut short before because things got too scary, too weird.
Suddenly, everything fits, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The uniform, the nakedness, the bathroom connection, maybe even the hanging imagery if her death was violent. It all points back to this tragedy.
Yeah. It provides this awful, terrifying context for everything they'd experienced.
How does the narrator react to hearing this? I mean, after everything he's seen and felt?
His reaction is immediate. He doesn't hesitate. He runs straight back to his tent.
To do what?
To get an amulet. He has a Tasso Swan amulet. It's a powerful protective figure in Thai beliefs, like a guardian against evil spirits. It's a common thing to carry for protection.
Ah, okay, so he's seeking spiritual protection.
Definitely. He gets the amulet, puts it on immediately.
And does it help?
According to him, yes. Instantly. He says as soon as he put it on, he felt safe. And he didn't see or experience anything else strange for the rest of that night or the next morning.
Just relief.
Relief and maybe a sense of being shielded. They pack up incredibly fast the next morning, needless to say. Everyone just wanted out of there.
I can only imagine the feeling getting away from that place. Is that the end of the story?
Almost. There's one last little chilling detail. After they get home,
What?
they look at a group photo. One taken on the last day at the camp. Standard group shot.
Okay.
But in the photo, off to the right side, there's a girl standing there. Clear as day. Wearing a Red Cross youth uniform.
Was there anyone actually wearing that?
He says no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No girls in their group were wearing that uniform when the picture was taken. He even mentions the only two boys not in scout shirts were wearing black and orange. Yet there she is in the photo.
Wow. Like a final signature, a reminder captured on film.
Exactly. So the whole narrative arc is there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Starts with these dismissible oddities.
Builds through shared sightings of this very specific, very disturbing figure.
Escalates to really personal, terrifying encounters involving sight, smell, even physical sensation.
Then you get the historical bombshell from the instructor, linking it all to this awful past tragedy at that exact spot.
And it ends with escape, feeling safe again thanks to the amulet, but with that final, creepy photographic evidence. Wow.
It's an incredibly potent story about how a place's dark history can seem to just bleed into the present, affecting people who come there years later.
Yeah, and how when multiple people independently report seeing the same things, the same specific details, it becomes so much harder to just dismiss it as imagination or, group hysteria, especially when it lines up so perfectly with a known event.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are these kinds of experiences purely psychological? Fear, feeding fear, maybe triggered by knowing the local legends or the history?
Or is it something else? Some kind of energy left behind? A presence imprinted on the location by those traumatic events?
And what does it really mean when these experiences aren't just individual nightmares, but shared? Corroborated across different people seeing the same ghost, essentially. What do you make of it all? Where do you land after hearing an account like this?